Hello everyone, it's Zakes and welcome to my top 5 list of epic attacks from anime characters. From the get-go, please understand that this is not a power list. It's a list of character attacks or attack sequences that were just too epic and elaborate for me to ignore. These are attacks that left me and hopefully you repeating over and over again the scenes where they are used. The attack does not have to be exclusive to a character, but must help in a character's development, not in terms of power or skill only, but in personality and outlook as well. There must be some growth gained from the use of the attack and insight in whatever aspect is highlighted. It's not just a question of a character suddenly finding the strength to fight. There must be reason and some amount of connection to all aspects, with character building being the most important. The number of times the attack is used does not matter, whether once or 1,000 times. The music, action, and the attack sequence must be impactful. Combo moves are allowed, but I will not consider the "let's all attack at once" types from anime like Digimon. Don't forget that this is all my personal opinion and I only consider anime that I have already watched. Also, please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one and support my Patreon campaign if you care to do so. Link in the description. With all that said, let's begin. Kicking things off at number 5 is the attack Sacred Create Water, performed by Aqua from the hilarious anime Konosuba. To give some perspective, a bit of background about Aqua and the anime Konosuba as a whole is required. The anime is a satire on video games in isekai form, and Aqua is a goddess who is supposedly great and all-powerful because of her position. She is dragged to another world by the main protagonist Kazuma as his choice to help him in his quest to defeat the Devil King. Unfortunately, she turns out to be a healer, and you know the prejudice against those. And on top of that, all her attacks before Sacred Create Water, other than her Turn Undead attack, have been pretty useless.
You've got some nerve calling a goddess like me useless. I want an apology.
She keeps bragging about how awesome she is and how she deserves to be worshipped and revered, but her healing ability seems not to really do anything to change fate, and for lack of better words, is incredibly useless.
Oh, you just called me useless again! Fine, you big meanie. I'll show you just what a goddess can do.
Then comes in one of the generals of the Devil King's army, and fellow adventurers are dropping like flies when Kazuma discovers that the general's weakness is water. However, all those casting spells are being dodged or running out of power. Aqua comes in and has no idea what is going on, and offhandedly, as usual, brags that she can conjure a flood. In our minds at this point, we believe she will be hilariously useless as usual, and then, boom.
You gotta be...
She manages to weaken the Devil King's general to a point where he may be defeated and actually finishes him off. The sheer scale of her attack, even though out of control, and the surprise with which the other characters react finally vindicates the goddess Aqua and proves that if used properly, her powers are most pivotal to her party's success, and very specifically useful to defeating the Devil King's army, who are probably mostly undead, and raises our expectations for her capabilities. Top 5 epic attack material indeed.
I should be worshipped, not scolded!
Tsunami!
Following at number 4 is Gaara's Sand Tsunami from the Naruto series. When he first uses this attack, it shows that all his self-consciousness is gone and there is no malice in his attack. Unlike before, where he fought to kill and prove his worth by betting his life over that of his opponent in a twisted survival of the fittest mindset. It is also the first time that we get to see a glimpse of his potential as a worthy Kazekage, the leader of his village, and actually prepares us for the reveal later on in the story.
To feel so strongly for someone you would fight for them and die for them.
The ridiculous massiveness and overwhelming power demonstrated is amazing. The attack is not introduced after a long fight or after a lot of exposition, but you can tell that it has been acquired after much hard work and that Gaara is pushing his limits. The last time we had seen Gaara was after his defeat at the hands of Naruto, and he was beginning to change his outlook on life to a less lonely, more positive, and socially inclusive one. The attack shows that he now has conviction and no longer self-pitying or obsessed with the death of his enemies, but the protection of his friends and family.
You're not doing anything in your present state. I've got this.
The Sand Tsunami is also a continuous attack that sets up his future attacks and abilities. It changes the terrain to suit his needs and gives him the advantage. It also is revealed that he can always make more sand if need be. I could go on and on about it all day, but we must move on to the next attack.
If I need more sand, I can easily use the earth we're standing on to make more.
With all 88 heavenly bodies shining, Urano Maitreya!
At number 3 is the Celestial Spirit Mage from the Fairy Tail anime series, Lucy Heartfilia, and her attack called Urano Maitreya. She landed number 3 because he is the only character on this list who canonically used her attack only 3 times out of 320 episodes or so, but managed to make the biggest impression, at least to me. The mystery behind her attack and its power only served to make the attack all the more epic. When she first used the attack, she was not in control and was in sort of a trance.
O stars far and wide that embody the heavens, by thy radiance reveal thy form to me. I implore you, O Tetrabiblos.
Urano Maitreya was also meant to be a once-off attack. However, she surprised everyone and managed to remember how to conjure it and make it her own. The second time she used it, she was holding it up proudly and using a very creative and practical way to increase its power. At this point, the attack reflects her own approach to life in that she gives her all to protect her friends, and it literally drains most of her magic power to the point of exhaustion. However, the attack, though executed perfectly, was interrupted by someone from the shadows, and it was very disappointing not to see what it would have done to her opponent. But the entire process of her conjuring the attack and the heart she put into it was very, very compelling.
This is it! I'm placing all of our guild's pride into this one attack!
On her third canonical try, the attack and Lucy get their vindication when they face their then most powerful foes, the Aetherius, and Lucy manages to use the attack to one-shot an enemy thought to be unbeatable. This was all after a protracted battle where she was ganged up on by 3 demonic enemies and all her friends had been trapped in an immobilizing spell. And not to mention the fact that she had to make a very great sacrifice and push herself to her limits. With this, Urano Maitreya and Lucy managed to reinforce her ideals and convictions and prove her worth after a long string of failures. I simply love it. I almost made this attack number 1, but upon reflection, I found 2 more attacks even more epic.
Did I win?
Buckets!
At number 2 is the Hinokami Kagura exploding blood sequence from Demon Slayer, done by Tanjiro and his sister turned demon, Nezuko. This one was a surprising one to me as I was still on the brink of deciding whether or not I wanted to commit to this anime. The attack sequence here made me a fan for life. Background: Nezuko has been captured by a very powerful demon who envies the siblings' relationship of unconditional love. Tanjiro fights to try and kill the demon, but in the process he wishes to sacrifice himself in order to save his sister. But his sister in that moment, sensing his imminent death, awakens her blood demon art called Exploding Blood or Blood Burst. The compelling nature of their unplanned but well-timed team-up is the fact that a lot of character development happens while character motivations are reinforced. Nezuko seemed like a mere loyal pet before this, and her advancement to a bona fide individual is awesome. We hear her thoughts for the first time rather than see her visualizations, which had made her seem more of a well-trained domestic animal, and realize that she is not a simple-minded zombie and has a bond with her brother which she consciously wishes to preserve. Whether this was a mind's evolution or just something which was being clarified, it is obvious that the brother and sister pair care deeply for each other. The connection between the 2 siblings and the sense of family instilled by their upbringing, which is shown by how Tanjiro does the Hinokami Kagura dance, turning his water into a searing flame upon remembering his father, while Nezuko uses her blood demon art for the first time after her mother appears to her, are just simply too powerful to ignore. The top spot goes to Monkey D. Luffy's jet Gatling gun from the anime One Piece. The particular instance of the attack is when Luffy used it against Rob Lucci in order to defeat him. The battle between the two was a long one, and the stakes were extremely high as one of Luffy's crewmates was being dragged away to be detained and tortured, and his entire crew was under the threat of a military assault known as a Buster Call, which had a reputation of annihilating everything in its path indiscriminately and could wipe an entire country off the map. With time running against him and Rob Lucci proving to be faster and more resilient than Luffy in all ways, we see our hero fall multiple times until he appears to lose his fighting spirit and stops getting up. This is when God Usopp gives him a pep talk and reminds him about what is at stake and what he should be fighting for.
Then get up! Show him what you're made of!
This is done at a time when Luffy and Usopp are in the middle of a falling out which seemed to have no end. That's when Luffy remembers all his friends were also fighting for their freedom and counting on him.
I want to live!
In that moment, he wills himself to push beyond his limits and surpass Rob Lucci's remarkable speed and strength and knock him out in a spectacular flurry of near invisible blows that are the jet Gatling gun. His character, motivations, and personality were so well advanced and clarified in that moment that it stuck with me ever since. No wonder he pulverized his way to my #1 spot. And those are my top 5 epic attacks from anime characters I've encountered so far. I would love to hear what attacks make it into your lists, so please leave them in the comments below and maybe I could get more anime on my watch list. I hope you enjoyed the video and that you please comment, like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Until the next time, I am Zakes and take care.